العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على رسوله الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So we just finished Surah Yusuf and now we started Surah Ra'd. So Surah Yusuf talks about which prophet?
Yunus.
Surah Yusuf. Yunus? Surah Yusuf talks about which prophet? Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Okay. So Surah Yusuf, there's many lessons to learn from Surah Yusuf, and there's a lot that's talked about in that surah. And it can be a whole 4 or 5 day session in of itself, because there's different parts, and there's different things that are highlighted in the story, from him being betrayed by his brothers, to him being picked up, to him being sold, to him being in the house of the minister, then in prison, and then outside of prison, then he was made a minister, then he finally was reunited with his parents and his family. There's a lot to talk about, but I really was thinking what to focus on, and I think we'll do just look right at the beginning, and connect it to something at the end, inshallah. So at the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفُ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِي. Yusuf alayhi salam told his father, I saw what? I saw رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرُ رَأَيْتُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon, and I saw all of them prostrating to me. The first thing that Yaqub alayhi salam tells him as soon as he hears this from him is, لَا تَقْصُصْ رُؤْيَاكَ عَلَى إِخْوَتِكَ. Don't tell your brothers this dream. Why? فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا, because they might devise a plan against you. And then he says, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. Indeed, the devil is a clear enemy for mankind. Then a little bit after, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that إِذْ قَالُوا لَيُوسُفُ وَأَخُوهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا مِنَّا وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ. So Yusuf alayhi salam's brother, Joseph's brothers, because the brothers of Yusuf had a different mother. The 10 brothers, they had a different mother. And Yusuf and Binyamin, or Benjamin in English, they had a different mother. So Yusuf and Binyamin share the same mother, and the other 10 share another mother. Okay? So they said Yusuf and Binyamin is more beloved to our father Yaqub alayhi salam than us, right? And they said, وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ, we're a whole group, we're strong. These are 2 frail kids. Why does Yaqub alayhi salam like them more? And then what do they say about their father? Indeed, إِنَّ أَبَانَ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Indeed, our father is clearly mistaken. He's in error. He's made a misguided judgment. Because usually dhalal is used for like misguidance. But obviously they can't say that about a prophet, because he's a prophet at the end of the day. So they decided, what should we do? They're making mushawara. They're having counsel between them. How should we get rid of our own brother? One of them said, Uqtulu Yusuf. They all said, okay, what we can do is we can kill our brother, or what we can do, we can throw him in some other area, and then what's going to happen? Our father's full attention will not be on us. And what does the one who's suggesting this, what does he say? وَتَكُونُوا مِن بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ. Then afterwards, we'll be good people. You guys can be good, salih. You guys can be pious. We'll do this one mistake, right? Premeditated tawbah, right? It's planning the tawbah. We'll do this one mistake, we'll get rid of our brother, and then afterwards, we'll be pious people, we'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, etc. We'll become righteous. So one of them said, لَا تَقْتُلُوا Yusuf, but وَأَلْقُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ. Let's go ahead and throw him in the bottom of a pit or a well. And then he says, يَلْتَقِطْهُ بَعْضُ السَّيَّارَةِ كُنْتُمْ فَاعِلِينَ. And then what's going to happen anyway is some wayfarers, some travelers will pick him up and they'll take him away. Okay. Now the scene shifts in this story now. So this is that scene that was shown. A lot of times, mashallah, you guys are all pious people, so you don't know. But if you've ever seen a movie before, in the movies, there's one scene, they'll show a couple of things, and then they'll shift to another scene. And they'll show a couple of things, and then they'll shift to another. It's actually very similar to the Quranic storytelling. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell you something very specific, show you something very specific, then immediately move to something else. Right? And then after that's done, then immediately move to something else. And the same thing in Surah Yusuf's story, every single small detail is not mentioned, just the main things that we need to know. So afterwards, the scene shifts, they go to their father and they're trying to emotionally blackmail him, or as like some people might say, gaslight. So what do they tell him? قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَ مَا لَكَ لَا تَأْمَنَّا عَلَى يُوسُفَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَنَاصِحُونَ. They said, oh our father, they were Yaqub, why don't you trust us with Yusuf alayhi salam? Because the father knows his children, right? The parent knows his children. Yaqub alayhi salam knew something was off. But they said, why don't you trust us? وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَنَاصِحُونَ. We are his well-wishers. Shaitan said the same thing, by the way, to Adam and Hawa. Remember Adam and Eve, we mentioned this a couple days back, that when he went to Adam and Eve, what did he say? وَإِنَّا لَهُ, what did he say? وَإِنِّي لَكُمْ لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. I believe that was the exact word, but he used the same wording. That I'm your well-wisher, telling Adam and Hawa. Same thing here, they're telling Yaqub, we are, we truly wish him well. We are his well-wishers. And then what did they mention, to cut because the time's short? أَرْسِلْهُ مَعَنَا غَدًا يَرْتَعْ وَيَلْعَبْ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Send him with us, we're going to go, we're going to play, and we will make sure to protect him. And Yaqub alayhi salam, he sent something was off, but this is what he said. He says, إِنِّي لَيَحْزُنُونِي أَن تَذْهَبُوا بِهِ. It pains me that you'll take him. وَأَخَافُ أَن يَأْكُلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ. And I fear that a wolf might come and take him while you guys are negligent. He knew something was off, but he made it about them being negligent, right? So he wanted to keep, everyone, where they are, and not offend anyone. And what do they say? If a wolf eats him while we're there, then we are amongst the losers. So eventually, we probably have heard this story before, some of us, that eventually they take him out, and Yaqub alayhi salam agrees, and they pick him up. And then, like Imam Qurtubi rahimahullah, he mentions that Yusuf alayhi salam was probably very young at this point. Maybe not the age of even puberty. He was a young boy. And they picked him up and they threw him in the well. But one thing that's mentioned here, and this is what I wanted to highlight, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَأُوحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. It's a very beautiful part. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that moment, in some way, shape, or form, revealed to Yusuf alayhi salam that there will come a day where you will definitely tell them about what they did right here, وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ, and they will not be aware, or they will not recognize you. So they go to their father crying and everything, making all these excuses. But later on, and we just read it in the Salah, what do they eventually, they say, they go back to him, they're confronting with him, they don't even know. He's basically the king or the minister, depending on what narration you take. But he's, someone in charge. And they say, Yusuf, are you really Yusuf? Ana Yusuf. And he says, yes, I am Yusuf, and this is my brother, Binyamin. Right? And so he reminded, and then that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, and it went full circle. But again, it took years and years for that to come to fruition. So what's one lesson we can learn from this? Is that we have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the long term. Right? We won't always get our results, our rewards, everything's not promised here. A long term, we have to think as Muslims. That I'm doing something here, I will reap the benefit in the hereafter. And sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give reward even in this life, right? But the Muslim does not think about that I want immediate somebody to give me something for this, my good deed, etc. Like if you're, for example, when you give sadaqah, when you give charity, you are losing money. Like in the worldly sense, right? You are giving money away. But what do we believe? That deed is going to, A, benefit that person, inshallah, but B, that it's going to eventually come back for me in the hereafter. Right? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to act upon what we've said, what we've heard. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.